Kung Fu Panda 2, because we all knew I was going to do the sequel eventually. A story of self-discovery, individuality, and standing up against tyranny. But if we shift the perspective from the Dragon Warrior, and instead focus on Shen,
everything must be exactly how I envisioned it. And I envisioned it a little to the left.
It becomes a story of what happens if by trying to change your destiny, you inadvertently cause it, basically becoming Eat a Peacock. But to imagine that, let me just put you in his shoes. Now imagine that you are Lord Shen, son of the mighty peacocks, the people who invented fireworks, and where others saw celebration and joy in art, you saw warfare, you saw power. You gazed upon gunpowder and thought, what if I put this in a metal tube and fired balls directly at people's faces? You didn't choose to be this enlightened. It chose you. But alas, your parents, tyrants disguised as doves, could not grasp your genius. So instead, they consulted a soothsayer.
That if Shen continued down this dark path, he would be defeated by a warrior of black and white.
And I mean, what even is that color palette? Still, this threat is existential and a direct insult to your colorful vibes. So naturally, you do what any rational, emotionally healthy aristocrat leader would do: genocide. You assemble a wolf army. Don't ask where you got those from, your royal budget is limitless. And you eliminate every single panda, because when fate gives you lemons, you incinerate the orchard. And what thanks do you get? Do you get your parents saying, wow, our son is so proactive about his destiny? No! They call you names. They say you're insane, a disgrace, a psychotic little peacock boy with explosive tendencies, which frankly is an accurate description, but it's still rude and hurtful. You weren't trying to be evil. If someone threatens your existence, well, you have to do what you need to do to survive. And you're not gonna let some monochromatic mammal stand in your way. Sure, you could wait for them to defeat themselves by their lack of ability and desire to have sex, but hey, you have a kingdom to conquer. So instead of supporting you and acknowledging your greatness and believing in your dreams to rule China, they banish you, they strip you of your birthright, they hand your empire to a rhino and kung fu. So you make a vow, not to get therapy, of course, no, that would probably make too much sense. No, you're gonna get revenge on all of it, especially that rhino and kung fu. And you swore that you would remove kung fu from the map. And with your mighty cannon, you can spread your seed all over China, the seed of technology, and become the one true ruler. Until your death and the kingdom invariably breaks into 7 kingdoms. Anyway, like 30 years later, you finally finished the cannon project, and you head home. And there's a menagerie of kung fu animal characters there to stop you.
I want to see it. It's a gift. Oh, it's your parting gift, in that it will part you. Part of you here, part of you there, and part of you way over there, staining the wall. You insolent fool!
So you entertain them. You play a little kung fu. Like, this is a kung fu world, and technically you are like a kung fu master, but that big rhino guy has, you know, the ultimate defensive technique. And that's one of the big reasons why you hate kung fu. Everyone has a gimmick. Your gimmick is science. So anyway, you start blasting. He doesn't even move. The sheer arrogance to think that kung fu can stop progress. And he's gone. The only thing left is his staff. And with no one, literally no one, being able to stand in your way, you can turn China into cattle, where you have all of the power.
My father's throne. He used to let me play here beside him, promising someday this throne would be mine.
Now, imagine you're surprised, though, that you're slowly working on your plan. You run out of some metal and you send out your men to go and collect some more from, outer regions. And you and this old goat, you've been ribbing it for a little bit.
If you continue on your current path, you will find yourself at the bottom of the stairs.
because she does bring the smack.
Is defeated by a warrior of black and white.
And they come back and they say that there's a panda. And not just any panda, a warrior panda.
There are no more pandas.
You refuse to accept it. Absolutely not. This is not destiny. This is harassment.
Poor eyesight, he can see the truth. Why? Is it that you cannot?
One panda lives. That does not make you right.
You're right. Being right makes me right.
This... Wow, okay. Anyway, a few days pass, and your dogs actually managed to capture this panda. Apparently he came to you, which is really convenient. And it is a bit of a surprise, but it's a welcome one, to be sure. So you do what any self-respecting person with intense anxiety and pathological existential dread, you practice a speech while playing with a knife. But then he comes up, and he's not quite what you were expecting.
Greetings, Panda. We meet. Hey, how you doing?
My God, the disrespect. He didn't even look at you, and this guy is the one that's gonna defeat you? Some, not to body shame, but some tubby panda? Like, what is he gonna do? Sit on you? Here you were expecting some hardened badass, like that infamous Tai Lung legend who tore through a valley and was imprisoned for 20 years. Actually, sometimes you do wonder what happened to him.
A lifetime to plot his revenge, and he comes to me on his knees.
What? A lifetime? Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not have a lifetime.
Oh, he doesn't know that you exterminated his entire species. This is just some bamboo-chewing panda out to play kung fu. And he just starts waffling on and on and on.
There's gotta be... Whoa!
The only reason you're still alive is that I find your stupidity mildly amusing.
Anyway, a little back chat later, you decide to fire your mighty cannon in his face. But then these other creatures of kung fu decide to burst into action, and holy, it turns out they have some moves. But this is more kung fu. This is something you need to defeat. If kung fu still exists in any capacity, it threatens your entire ideological war. Luckily, fanning your feathers gave him the case of the heebie-jeebies and triggered some latent PTSD or something, and that gives you time to escape, and it's pretty handy. Okay, so now you realize he does know something about what happened that day. But whatever, don't have time for that. And this panda, he refuses to die, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You're gonna win regardless. You're not gonna let that stand in your way of your ambitions.
The year of the peacock begins now.
Right now?
Because, I mean, why the hell is there chicken on the Zodiac, but not a peacock? There's a dragon, there's a tiger, and a fucking chicken? The audacity. They can't even fly. Anyway, you and the old goat, you have a little heart-to-heart.
Are you certain it is the panda who is a fool? You just destroyed your ancestral home, Shen.
A trivial sacrifice.
She starts talking to you about your ambitions, about the fact that you have an insatiable desire for conquest. Well, yeah, of course you do. You literally had your very existence threatened by a prophecy. So excuse you for trying to be in control of your destiny by taking control of China.
They loved you so much that having to send you away killed them.
You are just a product of your experience. Sure, you have some aggressive, genocidal tendencies, but you're also just doing what you think is best for you.
The dead exist in the past, and I must attend to the future.
You truly believe that you are the best person to rule China. And the only way to rule is through force. Empathy, compassion, these feelings are of no use to you now. It is time to turn your heart to metal, just like your iron cannons.
Goodbye, Shen. I wish you happiness.
Happiness must be taken.
Oh, but he's back again.
Tell me what happened that night.
And this panda is unequivocally an idiot, and he's looking for answers. God bless his soul. It seems like he does understand that you have something to do with his past, but he doesn't quite grasp what you actually did.
Yes, I was there. Yes, I watched as your parents abandoned you. It's a terrible thing. I believe it went something like this.
So you have a little 1v1. And honestly, he fights kind of badly. Just very good, like really good at not dying. It seems like everything he does is not with an intent, it's just an accidental movement of muscles that allow him to get the upper hand for some reason. Still, he wants answers. He wants the truth.
Here's your answer. Your parents didn't love you.
Okay, so maybe that was some pretty hardcore projection, but why not, right? He doesn't know that. Alrighty then, with the panda completely taken care of, because I mean, like, if that rhino didn't survive a point-blank blast, there's no way the panda did. No way. But, oh, in your distraction, you completely forgot he had friends. So you just, you lock them up and continue your plans. Of course, you give them front row seats, a testament, a monument to the era of Kung Fu coming to an end.
You are going to be part of something beautiful. Once we reach the harbor, in front of all the world, you and your precious Kung Fu will die.
They represent your subjugation of that way of life. And the day of conquering comes.
Shen, what about the bridge?
Nothing stands in my way.
And just as you're setting sail, guess who shows up? And I mean, it's like one panda versus like 10,000 wolves. And thus far, he's only proved to be mildly entertaining and rather mildly good at fighting. And then he says some stuff to you, but yeah, like he's really far away. You don't hear anything. And then he just tosses his hat for some reason. It's like,
Take aim!
oh, he figured out the weakness of the guns, which is mobility. That's annoying. How can your cannons not target a panda who seems to be just stumbling around? Then he breaks the people free and more Kung Fu masters show up? Okay. And I mean, that's okay because like these are some of the last Kung Fu masters of this world. And by killing these fools, you really instantiate your authority in China. And you prove to the world that Kung Fu is a lost and dying art, ready to be forgotten in the past. Just like your parents, it's time to break free of tradition and enter a new world, a world of iron. And I mean, like at any point, realistically at any point, you could come down and wipe the floor with at least most of them. And with your wolves, you would probably win. But this is not about you proving your skill of Kung Fu. That would prove their point, not yours. And you're there to defeat Kung Fu, not use it to win. Fire! And your wolf man decides to stand up to you. Like, brother, please, lives, except for your own, have very little importance to you. And you get them all in one shot. And it really proves how insanely powerful your cannons are. And there's no way they could have survived that, right? And even if they did, thus begins your conquest. He really survives everything, doesn't he? This panda has some kind of armor that prevents him from dying or losing any battle he fights in.
As you wish. Let's finish this.
Oh, is he doing some Tai Chi? Oh, come now, Mr. Panda. If Kung Fu's not gonna work, Tai Chi ain't gonna work either. What are you gonna do? Limber up your joints at me to death? Hang on, what? How is he doing that? He should be furious. You took everything from him. And now somehow the same panda that fell off rooftops and could barely fight without someone watching his back and can now harness the power of Tai Chi to redirect cannonballs? He is a pathetic creature. Someone without talent or skill, clearly no hard work has been put in. And yet he fumbles from moment to moment, somehow able to do things previously thought of as impossible.
How did you do it?
You know, you just keep your elbows up and keep the shoulders loose.
That. How did you find peace?
But then the thoughts cross your mind. What if that he's not strong despite being broken? What if he's strong because he is?
See, that's the thing, Shen. Scars heal.
No, they don't. Wounds heal.
What if happiness isn't earned through domination and conquest, but through acceptance?
You gotta let go of that stuff from the past, because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters It's what you choose to be now.
You're right.
What if all your cannonballs, your decades of calculations of an iron empire was all just noise? A desperate attempt to make the world as afraid as you are, to give them the same fear of being rejected, forgotten, or even killed? What if the prophecy didn't warn you about your destiny? What if the prophecy was that you were a warning to the world about unchecked ambition, fear, and anger, to lose in the end by causing the very thing you fought to prevent? No, you refuse to accept that everything that you've done until this point has been wrong. You refuse to accept that your life's work has been for nothing. No, happiness is to be taken. And you can retake your happiness if you just kill this stupid panda.
Then I choose this!
He's not beating you with kung fu. Hell, he's not even beating you with tai chi. He's beating you by becoming something you can't even fathom. Being whole. You were born a prince, trained as a killer, fought to control your destiny, and crowned by fear, the feathered savior, the metal messiah. He was born a nobody, lost to obscurity, somebody who didn't even know who he was, and somehow made peace with himself, and no matter what happened, always got back up and fought. Maybe that's why you're losing. Maybe that's why you always will, because you can never beat an orphan with a savior complex and plot armor. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe. We're on the way to 100k. If I hit that, then I have a special thing planned. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell thing, because that way you never miss my videos. I just want to shout out my members real quick, especially Jay. Thank you so much, Jay. You're awesome. And of course, Lavender, Yuri, Sam, Zyla, Sam Ryan, and Alan. Thank you guys. And thank you to you for watching. Have a great day and have a great life.